If you saw one of my first videos, I was showing you a shear that had some serious problems with the pivot group. This is not that shear, it's a different one, but it definitely has some major issues with the pivot group. So right now we got the cylinder unhooked and pulled back out of the way, and I'm trying to take the pivot group apart. I've been working at it for a solid 3 hours now. It was in a major bind because of how bad the pin is broken. Sometimes you don't have to fight this badly to get this thing apart. Those are the good days. Continue working on it, get everything apart, and once it is, we've got to cut the pin out and take our measurements to get the new parts ordered, and we'll keep you updated on the process. Well, after a rather unpleasant experience of cutting that nut off of there, we got the tie rod out, and it is clearly bent, which is unfortunate, but not unexpected after the problems that we had with getting those nuts off. Unfortunately, those bushings feel almost welded in there, so rather than taking the bushings out first, we're going to go ahead and cut that pin out, and hopefully that'll alleviate enough pressure that the bushings will be able to move with the pulling bolts, but we will see once this is all done. Well, after trying, I've decided that seeing as how these nuts are beyond saving as is, we're just going to go ahead and torch one off. It's the only option at this point, unfortunately. Never really had to do that before, but I guess there is a first time for everything. And yeah, basically, if you have a shear that has a cracked pin, don't keep using it. I think there's some serious damage to this thing. Might have even split this thing open a little bit, but we'll get it fixed. Well, we finally got everything taken apart, and I started cutting out the pin. A lot of people think they can just press this thing out. It's a shrink fit pin, and those things are frozen in there. They are not going to budge, so they have to be cut out. Normally, you would remove the bushings first. However, again, because this pin was so messed up, the problem was those bushings are wedged in there. So I'm hoping that by removing the pin first, it'll give me enough breathing room to pull those bushings out. But we'll see from that point. I've had enough problems with this sort of thing in the past, but we'll find out how things go after the pin is out. We got half the pin out. Looks like we got it past the bushing. So we're gonna go ahead and take a minute here and see if we can get the bushing out. And after that, we will continue on with the cutting process, and hopefully it will be a little bit easier than it has been. So here is a fantastic example of why it's important to change the bushings on a shear. These are wore down big time. There should be a healthy groove in all of these, and they're pretty much slap wore out. So we'll get to see what they should look like when we get the new bushings in. But these are no good. Probably should have been changed out a couple years. Probably should have been greased a little bit more too, but that's hard to say for sure. Anyhow, we got this one out. Looks like the pin was the problem. Taking the pressure off of the bushings made everything come out nice and easy. Well, it was not a fun day, but it was at least a productive day. There's several piles of slag from cutting the pin out. Some of the pin. There's the rest of the pin. It was a I need to see my chiropractor kind of day. Back is feeling the work. Got the upper piece out of the shear, and now we're just going to need to take some measurements to find out what size pin we need to order. Once we have that in, we'll get the upper cut to spec, and then we'll drop the new pin and get everything put back together. We're going to have to order a lot of new parts, unfortunately, because there was just a lot of damage done to this thing. But we'll get it put back together and make it look like, well, an operational shear at least.